Just one last one before we go live. Oh, I'll just keep my mouth shut. Owen,
Luds,
have y'all met Owen Newkirk?
I haven't seen Craig Ludwig in hours. Right? But we're here. The boss just walked in. What a pleasant surprise. Guess what? It's Game 7. We're pulling out all the stops tonight. Let's get our pregame show started right now here on DLLS. This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. Our Stanley Cup Playoff coverage is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy responsibly. And by Happiest Hour. Check out Happiest Hour for the best spot to watch the NHL Playoffs. And live in the lounge studio here at DLLS, alongside the two-time Stanley Cup champion Craig Ludwig and recent U18 World Championship dignitary, I'm Owen Newkirk. You had fun last night, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see some young guys skating around having fun.
USA did not win last night, their semifinal. They lost to the Swedes. So tonight, we have a big hockey night in the DF Dub because Sweden-Canada U18 World Championship in Frisco at 7 o'clock. And something else going on at the AAC tonight at 7 o'clock.
I heard.
Yeah, Game 7, Stars
down here.
and Avalanche. We're going to talk all about it, but first, let's welcome in the third member of our show for the pregame. It's our very own Sam Nestler, who it wouldn't be a day without Sam having some wacky travel story, and he made it back. He did not land in Dallas initially on his return leg, but that doesn't matter. You're here, and no lineup changes, right? The biggest news of the day.
Yeah, Pete DeBoer has made my job very easy in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far because he has changed the lineup, I believe, a total of 2 times. Someone actually asked about it today, saying I think there's been a total of 3 lineup changes basically throughout this entire series since Game 1. So we same lineup tonight, so we know that includes Maverick Bourque, the scratch up front, with Smith, Dumba on the back end. No, we will not see Miro Heiskanen tonight. If anyone does not already know that. Pete surprisingly gave the announcement yesterday that Miro would not play tonight in Game 7. Still recovering, still skating with the team, but not ready yet. I really liked the way Pete answered about Miro today. He said, look, we're not going to put him in a spot to cause further damage because it's a Game 7. The Miro Heiskanen is a long-time Dallas Star. Who knows what his future holds as one of the better defensemen in the NHL. You don't want to put a guy in a spot to potentially hurt something worse that will risk his future, whether that's this year in the playoffs or down the line in his career. We know Craig Ludwig has done plenty of things to risk future injury, but look what that guy looks like now. So we don't want to wish that on anybody. But I will say this, the Miro Heiskanen situation, the way Pete kind of laid it out was, it's not a player's decision, right? It's not like Miro's coming in and he's saying, I'm ready to go tonight. Let's do it. It's the medical staff. It's a lot of different things that they lay out to get Miro Heiskanen back in the lineup. And when he is healthy, I got a ton of questions about this yesterday while I was sitting at a different airport. When he's ready to go, he will play. There's no resting Miro Heiskanen because he's just getting back and they don't want to force him into a Game 7. If he was ready to go tonight, they don't care what game it is. He's coming back into the game. So we'll hope that the Stars can pull something off here tonight that allows a Miro Heiskanen and potentially Jason Robertson story to become a bigger story down the line.
Yeah, and obviously they have to win tonight to have that story. We'll save it for next week. I don't see it being Miro couldn't play Game 7 today, but he'll be ready in 2 or 3 days for Game 1. I think it would be at some point if they get into the second round, he will make his return. But I don't think it's just going to be this magic switch that, suddenly Miro's ready for Game 1.
Yeah, like I said, breaking news. Somebody sitting up here said this after Game 3.
That's a classic "What'd I tell you" from Luds.
And it's finally somebody came out and said, yeah, the doctor's got to sign off on it. duh, and no doctor signed off on it. So just leave him alone. Like, it'll be nice when he comes back, and he's still gonna. You're gonna ask him again. You're gonna ask him in game 1
Oh, yeah,
of
they
the
are.
second round. Sam, is Miro playing tomorrow night? Aren't you?
I don't have to, which is great. The national reporters take care of all the questions that I don't want to ask, so that's nice. Nice of them to handle those for me.
You like when Pierre LeBrun comes in and goes, let me ask you about Miro every single day, and so then you don't have to be the one that's like pounding on that door.
I think him and Peter.
It's
are good
amazing.
buddies, so.
Oh, they seem to
And
be.
let me tell you, they're not just talking in press conferences.
Oh, no.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you know.
Sam, Jason Robertson did make his first appearance today, and I know that has nothing to do with tonight's game, but it is notable because we haven't seen him since his injury in Game 82.
Yeah, for sure notable. And again, this goes what we just talked about. These stories are important. If the Stars are able to win this game tonight, then all of a sudden all the eyes focus to the next round, focus on who wins Game 7 tomorrow between Winnipeg and St. Louis, and then when do these guys return? Because I will say, if the Stars are able to find their way out of this series, that's something that not many people believe they were going to be able to do without Jason Robertson and Miro Heiskanen. But we did see Jason Robertson today on the ice for an optional morning skate. First time with the group. Pete was asked if this was anything to do with the fact that it's Game 7 and just get him out there with the team. He said, no, this was part of the recovery. This was the plan. Robo now being integrated back into the group, which is what we saw from Miro. I feel like it's just been every other day here. We look at someone who is on the next step of some injury recovery, whether it's Tyler or Mason or now Miro and Jason. It's just a constant for the Stars. But I will say, we asked Pete today about this situation, and he said he's incredibly proud of this group. And that's an obvious statement from a head coach, right? But the reason it goes deeper and really stuck with me is because this group has accomplished a lot. I know that people will be very disappointed if they somehow lose this game tonight and get out in the first round. But the fact that they came into this series, they're playing in a central division that Pete says should have had 5 100-point teams if it wasn't for Minnesota and St. Louis hitting a couple of different circumstances. You're looking at the best division in the NHL. The Stars have been just destroyed with injuries all season, and specifically now. And they find a way to get into a series against what many people believe is one of the top 3 to 4 Stanley Cup contenders in the NHL. And they push them to a Game 7. They find a way to answer after losing yet another Game 1. They find a way. I don't know if you know that you're on camera here, but you are, and it's hilarious.
They set me up to do this. We were giving each other the steal sign. I said, no, I'm going to bunt. But, yeah.
Got it. I love it. Well, anyway, the point
we can
being
use it for the blooper reel later as I'm grabbing my different appendages. Go ahead, Sam. Keep going. Look, you swing away.
Good time. Yeah, no, I was just saying that Pete was incredible, proud of the group, and they've accomplished a lot here no matter what happens here tonight. But the other side of it is, look, it's a Game 7. We can be proud. We can be happy with how far we've gotten. We don't want to be talking about how far we got in exit interviews tomorrow or Monday. We want to take that next step and make what we were just talking about a reality and start to look forward to either Winnipeg or St. Louis.
We have a super chat.
Bing bong.
Sam, this involves you too. This is from, I don't know where it is. I think it is from Reed. There it is. It's popped up. Heiskanen 99 from Reed. Let's hear the predictions, fellas. Give a goal score as well. Sam, prediction for tonight's Game 7.
3-1 Dallas, empty netter.
Goal scorer that scores the game winner would be the second goal then?
Wyatt Johnston.
Ooh, he's saying Wyatt's going to give goals in 3 consecutive Game 7s to start his career. That's pretty impressive. Lud's prediction for tonight.
I have no prediction because I have no idea.
Yeah.
I was telling you guys earlier.
Same.
I literally, I would be lying if I had a prediction because I have no feel for it.
So instead of a prediction, what's your hope? Don't look at
Really?
me. Just say it. Yes. What are you hoping for?
I hope this team wins.
Who do you hope scores the game-winning goal then?
I don't give a. Can you beep it?
No.
Okay. Otter?
You want to see a goalie goal in Game 7?
No. You know who I want to score it?
Who?
Bischel.
Ooh.
I do. I hope he gets the game winner. I mean, again, for a guy that's brought a different element to this team that's been missed for a long time and had a couple injuries, got his bell rung once, came back. He keeps coming back. I hope he gets it.
I have 2. I think that the juicy storyline would be Mikko Rantanen. because I think he's just been trending in that direction. But I'm thinking Sam Steele. He scores the own goal.
And Blackwell assists on it?
A Blackwell assist. Yeah. So in Game 6, he puts it off of Blackwell and in.
He bunts it back to him.
And then they score, find a way, and and they atone for things, so we go clean slate into the second round.
Good idea.
What do you think, Sam? Does that work for you?
I love it. All I'm thinking about right now is how I get myself a Craig Ludwig jersey, because the fact that I've been working with that guy for a year and I don't have one is a dang
What'd you
shame.
have for your Halloween costume?
I put tape over a Joel Lundqvist jersey and made a fake one. I need a real one of those.
It's a good start. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think Lud's jerseys all around. When DLLS retires Lud's jersey to the rafters, everybody will get one. So we're just giving Ben another thing on his budget to figure out. All right, Sam, good luck tonight. Make sure you really pay attention to those line rushes, because you never know the wrinkles you might see.
Yeah, easy night for me. I'm just ready to enjoy it, boys. Enjoy the game.
All right. Sam Nestler will join us for the post-game show at the AAC. And Luds, we have a lot to get into here from what Sam was talking about. The big thing is that both of these teams enter the playoffs believing that they could win a Stanley Cup. They still both do. They fancy themselves Stanley Cup contenders. One of them will not be getting a ticket to the second round. And that's a big blow for two teams that are much better, I think, than the first round matchup.
And I truly believe that the team that comes out of this tonight has a good path to the finals. Because when you look at what's going on with Winnipeg and St. Louis, and again,
would you have believed that 2 weeks ago? Because didn't everybody say, boy, this is an awful path. You have to go try to beat Dallas or Colorado and then Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg that's my point.
They look mortal.
That's my point. Well, one of the guys looks mortal in particular. So, and I think that for St. Louis, they're playing the way that they have to stay available. But I think whoever comes out of that, whoever comes out between Vegas and Edmonton, I think they can move on past those. So the team that probably loses this game in another 3 weeks from now and be going, or 4 weeks, whatever it ends up being, we should be in the finals. And so, and again, these games are, literally, I'm sitting here with this book.
Yep.
Right? I always have.
And you can even show everybody, you actually have writing on it.
There's nothing on this
give
right
a zoom
now.
in there.
This page for this game, there's nothing on it. Because anything that's happened, I keep staring
but
here like I'm pretending.
On.
That's from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so this is just a prop then?
Yeah, this is just from the last game. Yeah, it's like I got to have something in my hands. Speaking of that, is it time for the read?
Oh, you got about 2 minutes.
No, seriously, you take all of the numbers, and I was just telling Owen before we started, I'm going through some analytical things and looking, and Colorado's on the top of the 16 teams. Colorado's sitting on top of them, and Dallas isn't necessarily in the bottom. They're in the bottom 3 and so on. None of that matters. It doesn't matter what's happened. Game 7s, there is no more planning between the coaches. They're not going to tweak any systems anymore. I shouldn't say that. There could be a couple changes they're going to do, but for the most part, this is all up to, honestly, a lot of the times it's up to the goaltenders and up to the best players on the teams. And they're generally the ones that are going to decide this.
Well, that's to the point that I was really wanting to get to is Pete said this. I want to say it was after Game 6. I don't think it was yesterday. They had some travel delays because of, and for everybody that's in DFW, pretty rainy, stormy day yesterday. And so because of that, the team actually had to wait a little bit to get their flight back because they were going to have some concerns about landing in Dallas. Sam actually landed in Lubbock and then had to wait for his flight to be able to get.
Did Denver have to do the same thing?
I don't know. I never heard anything about that.
Do you think they had a different way to get
No,
here?
they probably did have to sort of delay their thing. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying that's the issue. Pete said Jared Bednar and I are not going to be the major impacts of Game 7. The players are.
And I think there are some things that they probably, they've been doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Bednar's got a championship. Pete's the stat that I hate the most is Pete's Game 7 record.
8-0.
I hate it because eventually that thing comes down. Hopefully it's not now. I'm just saying that's the only stat I actually hate. But these guys have little things that they've done. There's a reason Pete's 8-0, right? He's played in a few of these. At times he's done certain things. They've done certain things during the year. They've twiddled with certain players. They've changed maybe a little play, and they've tried this and something. Oh, man, let's put that in the back of our pocket if we ever need it. We don't want to show anybody. These are the kind of things that there's any little trick plays or anything that comes out, we still do it. I shouldn't say anybody's mind, but we have a play. It's called Houdini. You take a face-off in your own zone, right? And you have one of your wingers that's going to a defenseman if you lose a draw. So you have a winger that goes. They always get out to the point, but that winger keeps right on going, and he goes in the close door, and the guy in the far door steps out. Now, that was done in the Olympics by someone. So anyways, it's not like it hasn't been done, but we haven't seen that in years. Like those kind of little things, you may see something like that. I can see this game being tight the whole game, and everybody's just bare knuckle. The problem that you have in a Game 7, as I say, you never want to play it if you don't have to.
Yep.
Now, the pressure is on Dallas. I don't care what anybody says. It is because they're at home. They're in their building and everything else. The players, Dallas needs to get off to a good start. And the ideal start is what they had last time in here. But you want to, and the other guy that has to get through this is their goaltender. He knows what happened in the first couple minutes of the game. So you got to start directing a lot of things at him early and maybe let that stay in his head. The last time I was in here, this is what happened.
We'll take a sip of your Bud Light and hold that thought, because I want to get back to talking about the goaltenders and the pressure and the players and everything Game 7 next here on DLLS.
Well, if I took a sip of my Bud Light, I couldn't do this.
Well, you could take a second and then
What's up, Stars fans? It's Game 7. That's what's up. Enjoying a Game 7 should be easy, so you don't overthink it. What to wear? Just put a jersey like this on. That's all you can put on. Not sure what to serve your friends? That's even easier. Pick up some pizza and grab some Bud Light and stock up your fridge, which you should have done 2 days ago. See, it's that easy. Just like Bud Light, which is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, but remember, do it responsibly, as we all do. Bud Light, St. Louis, Missouri.
All right, let's talk about Sleeper. Best fantasy league platform out there. Put your puck or your ball knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. Are you ready for this? John's picks are not tonight. They're my picks. And I'm going for a big one, boss. We're going for a 5-pick ticket. We're going with Jake Oettinger more than 25.5 saves. He's been more than that number 5 of the first 6 games of the series. Then we're going to go Wyatt Johnston more than 0.5 points. We're going to go with John's favorite, Esa Lindell, for more than 2.5 block shots. He's hit that 4 of 6 games in this series. Ilya Lyubushkin, I'm going to go with less than 2.5 block shots. He had a bunch in Game 6, but I'm going to say less. And then Cody Ceci has been less, more than he's been more. I know that's a confusing sentence, but only 2 of 6 has he been more 2.5 block shots. Had a bunch in Game 6. I'm going with more. So if you have Ceci Lyubushkin at more than 2.5 block shots, Ilya Lyubushkin less than 2.5 block shots.
Can we get a few more mores in there?
I have 4 mores and 1 less.
Oh, my God.
Lindell more than 2.5 block shots. Wyatt Johnson more than 0.5 points. And Jake Oettinger more than 25.5 saves. If you get all 5 correct, a $10 ticket will get you $156.02.
You know who the best James Bond was?
You're going to go with Roger Moore.
There you go.
I would say Sean Connery, but we can have that debate during the summer. We could do I like Daniel Craig too, because he's a Liverpool fan. Take that, Ben. All right. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest. Doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states, including Texas. I stole that line from Bobby. Check out Sleeper today. All right, Luds. Let's talk about this record for a minute, because I know
something to bring up, though.
Oh, please.
You remember we were talking about last night when we were out in Frisco there?
Yes.
Do you know how many DLLS people were out there that came up to me?
How many?
Didn't count them. I'm just saying that's kind of a thing you say. It's just something you say that to make it sound like half the building was DLS.
You can give me a generalized idea. Was it a lot?
Yes. I don't know what a lot is, but there were a lot of people that came up to me and said, God, we love you guys, and DLS and all this other kind of stuff. So good to all.
So they're watching.
Yeah, they're paying attention. Yeah, they're paying attention.
I went to get my credential yesterday afternoon, right before Canada versus Slovakia. I hadn't picked it up the whole week, and one of the ladies at the credential table saw my name and said, "Oh, DLLS, I've been watching your show," and that was very nice. And then at the USA Sweden game, I went to say hi to Vern Fiddler because his son Blake was playing for US last night. And it was a kid named Ethan was with his dad, and he said, I've been watching and I really like your show. How about that? Just in the stands. Where I said something to Vern. He said
Vince
for
has
sure.
mentioned the yes word quite a bit. Yes.
I mean, if Shoddy wants to come on, I like it. Okay, let's talk about this experience. 8-0, you just said you don't really like hearing about that from Pete. If he wins tonight, if the Stars win, he will pass Daryl Sutter for the most Game 7 wins in NHL history from a head coach. Sutter's 8-3. I think that Pete DeBoer's calm demeanor, his ability to not get overly riled up. We saw Jim Montgomery very animated last night in St. Louis as part of Game 6, which was exciting for the Blues. They had a huge second period there. That's the opposite end of the spectrum. And I asked Pete this morning if he thinks that's calm. He says, for me, I think that's really important. He was trying to not make it sound like he was judging other coaches for being more dynamic on the bench, but he said, for me, I think it's really important to be calm so that bleeds into your players and they don't get overly excited.
It's important when you have a veteran team, and there's veterans on this Stars team. And, I'll just keep talking as Kat keeps the shot on you the whole time, because it sounds like, yeah, they're over there chatting. They're not even paying attention to them too.
This is the usual relationship between Luds and John. So he's trying to make you feel at home over there.
So, but it's important to have your veterans have the calm, because when you have veterans that are on, and I can go back to the year that we won the Cup in Montreal, we had that kind of coach. And it's like when you have veteran guys there, you kind of lose your ability to keep listening to them. And so I think for DeBoer, he knows that he has the Bens and the Sagans and now Rent. He has guys that have been through this that he can walk in, say his thing, and then it will get talked about, especially during the playoffs with some of these veteran guys that are involved in this thing. So otherwise, it's more of a distraction when guys go in there. And you talked about Sutter. I've never had Brent. I played with Brent, but they're all wired in the same way. And you can imagine when those guys get in there, and if they want to bring their personalities out and you have a veteran team, you kind of go, okay, just chill. You don't say that out loud, but you're thinking it, so you're really not even hear what they're saying. So I think the approach that Pete DeBoer has, which he's had this all season long, too.
All season long.
There's times that you've heard me go, I'm hoping he's snapping on him when he's off camera.
You were hoping that maybe a Gatorade cooler gets kicked over
or
in
something.
the room or
and
something.
Maybe because of his calm demeanor, he only has to go up a small level for the players to go, oh, he really means this one. So sometimes that's how it is. Now, when we had a guy like Hitchcock, we were like, oh, hang on, Hitch is coming. And so we were already ready for it. So, but I like the approach, especially with the players that are in this lineup for the Stars.
Let me ask you about experience as it pertains to the team and to the individual players. Let's first start with the team. Dallas is on a run where they have played in a Game 7 now for 4 consecutive playoffs. This will be their 4th. It was Calgary in 2022. It was then the Seattle second-round series. They won at home. They lost in Calgary. Jake had that unbelievable 60-plus save performance in the loss in overtime to the late, great Johnny Gaudreau and the Flames. They beat Seattle in the second round. Then last year it was 7th game against Vegas. They won that one. Mackenzie Blackwood has never played in a playoff game, a Game 7 playoff game. And, of course, this is his first playoff series as an NHLer. And then, so here we are. We have Jake, very experienced. You've got Blackwood, who's never faced this at this level. You have a Stars team that has been very good at home in Game 7s. And you have an Avalanche team that, again, I know it's not all these players. Historically, they've lost 6 straight Game 7s going back. They haven't won a Game 7 since 2002. Now, again, it's not all the same players, but that stuff lingers.
Who's due?
Right. So that worries you if you go, oh, they're due. Yep. But what about the goaltending? Because I think the biggest X factor is Jake has been really good, and Blackwood in Game 5 particularly looked really shaky, and the Stars fans are going to get on his case quickly if he lets anything in soft.
That was my point when I started reading it off. Like, this is all about the beginning of the game. You have to give a reason to doubt himself. You have to give a reason for him to think about that particular start that he had in this building. So that if Colorado wants to come out and in the first 5 minutes they're out shooting the Stars 7-2, now he kind of settles in. The goaltender kind of settles in. Things are happening there. So I think you have to put that in his head right away. And the way to go about it is exactly what they've been doing. They're not, turning pucks over at in crucial areas of the ice. They're getting pucks to the net, and then they're bringing people there. And so you have to put that back in there somehow. It has to be part of your game plan. Shots early and often, and that should be said, for the last day and a half.
All right, let's take a quick look at the lineups for tonight. We start with the Dallas Stars and their forward group. No changes are expected for either of these teams, but just a quick, look at that. The Moose, 4 points in the second period of Game 6, along with Rope Hintz. That line, the finish line, I saw one nickname of the Finn Reaper, which is kind of an interesting take on the Grim Reaper. Slim Reaper. I mean, either way. I mean, yeah, okay, that's a Phoenix Suns thing now. I don't know if we want to do that. But what do you think, Luds? Is this
I don't have a clue what you two were just talking about.
Well, it's because it was an NBA
Something
thing.
about Phoenix.
You were trying to say the other night to Bobby that you were becoming a big basketball guy, but I think Katia just exposed you for
I wasn't
poser.
trying that hard.
So take a look at that lineup. Who are you looking for to have a big performance here in Game 7 tonight, especially considering Pete really liked the top two lines and said, I think we need more from the bottom two lines?
Matt Duchene. I want to see Matt Duchene tonight. I think he has been quiet through, I don't even, does he have a point or two? I mean, it seems like he was stuck on
I think he has one assist.
Yeah, I think that Matt Duchene, again, I give,
a really nice assist, by the way, in Game 5.
I give the Avs credit because they've done probably exactly what I think you would do to a player like him, and they know him, and to take him out of that equation, because when you go back and you look at the Marchment line, right, when Tyler was there, he spearheaded everything that went on with that line. And I think they've said, here's the head of the snake for that particular line. We're going to take it out. And they've done a good job there. So I was like to see him break through again. I also, again, Wyatt, we had the one game with Wyatt, right? And so I think he needs to kind of exert himself more. He needs to be freer to go and do what he does. And I think he defers sometimes. And I think he can create breakdowns, much like I talk about Hintz, when he comes through the middle of the ice. I think Wyatt can do that, because what Wyatt does when he gets below the top circles, he's on his game and he's feeling it when he starts shooting the puck from everywhere. And good things happen when he does that.
Take a look at the Stars' defense and goaltending. Of course, Jake Oettinger gets the start tonight. I think that is the big edge for Dallas. But this group, same group, obviously no Miro, no surprise there. But this is a pretty battle-hardened 6, I think, from the first 6 games. How do you see them holding up after 6 games in the series?
I'm so happy with that third pair, if that's what we want to call them, Bichel and Petro. I just think they've been exactly what you asked for in a series like this. They're physical. They seal people out in front of Otter. And I think that as long as you can kind of, and again, I could say control Thomas Harley's minutes as this game goes along. Essa's going to do his thing, but don't worry about the minutes. Not tonight, not in Game 7, because there's nothing to save it for. And the next game is the next game, and you want there to be a next game. And so you empty the tank with these guys. But I do think LaBouche can be a little bit better. But regardless, I think everybody has to bring their A game. And you're probably it's not going to be your A game, and might be after 6 of these games already. So maybe it's your B or B plus game. The whole key to this whole thing is on the other side, you got to shut 2 guys down again. You have to keep number 8 and 29. Somehow you got to keep them on the outside of the ice and don't let them get to the middle. Not easy.
Let's get to the Colorado lines real quickly. Obviously, getting Gabe Landeskog back in this series, their captain, and then having him play well has been a big lift. But are you, through 6 games, impressed with the roster construction for them, or is there up and down? What's the feeling?
Well, I like it, and what I like on the top line, of course, it's McKinnon, but I'm really impressed with Lehkonen. I mean, he's that guy that seems to find his way right in front of the goaltender all the time. Necas, he's getting a little bit better. It seems he was getting a little bit more dangerous, so you want to keep him where he's at. The other one is Nichushkin. We talk about him quite a bit. Now, does he have a little bit more confidence now because he's got a couple goals underneath him?
Big Game 6.
Landeskog, I think he's more of an emotional guy. He's not the same guy he was before the injury, but he's still that emotional guy. He goes to the hard areas of the ice. But like I said, you have to be so cognizant of where 29 is and where number 8 is. And number 8 especially. I think what they've done a good job of, though, is probably taking some of their speed away through the neutral zone, because you don't see a lot of that get in the zone, curl up stuff. So I think Dallas is going to a good job through the neutral zone. They have to continue to do that.
All right, let's take a look at the defense for the Avalanche and, of course, their goaltending. I think Blackwood's the biggest question mark. The defense, they've been fine. Makar has had his moments, but he's also been kept in check a fair amount in 6 games.
You can see he's more on it in the last game and a half. So I think he's feeling better about his game, which is never a good thing. Taves kind of flies under the radar. He's that steady guy with him. Otherwise, and Manson's been physical, and that's what he's going to do. What's interesting tonight is, you know who the referee is?
Wes McCauley and Dan O'Rourke, I believe.
So with
right?
Wes McCauley out there, who likes to run the show.
Yes, those two.
I would think that if there's any of this embellishment kind of things going on, he may be the first guy that will give two for that and 2 for this.
Yeah.
And I think that the players, they probably have conversation about all this kind of, which is fair. That's fine if that's what happens, because there's been a lot of stuff out there. I don't know if you saw the one from their dude in Denver.
I sure did.
What's his name?
From Rycroft. Mark.
Is it Rycroft?
It's Mark Rycroft. Yeah.
It was a good job.
That compilation of Stars embellishments.
Yeah, they were talking embellishing, but it was excellent. If you're an Avs fan, it was excellent. It was. He broke it down, and you're wondering why how some guys don't pull muscles doing some of those kind of things. Now, again, it's happened on the other side.
Oh
of the
my
fence
goodness!
too, so.
Game 6, Granlund takes the penalty for
Makar.
Makar absolutely sold it. I think our bosses almost lost their minds watching
along. That's the good thing, though, with McCauley is he won't play to the superstars. Correct. He won't do it.
Okay, we have 2 quick things left, and we've got to wrap it up. So we have a couple super chats to do. Boy, she knows exactly where I was going with that. So the first one.
She's trying to get you off the air.
Burned Oils with a Canadian $2.40. That would be a Brendan Smith and a 40. I can't remember. John Simwer 40?
Wait a second. What?
If we lose tonight, it was nice knowing you, Luds.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Is that Burned Oils on the ledge?
Expiration date on me? Or?
Well, we've got another one.
Bing, you got a toe tag on me.
Burned Oils with another. This one's a Brendan Smith and a 12. I can't remember who wears 12 for the Stars. Anyway, we're on the edge of glory.
Gavin.
This close. Let's take it. So
that'd be Gavin Stewart.
Clearly teetering on the side to side, and then Michael Moore with a Hayes to 99. Can feel the nerves in the building. Section 117 will be ready. That's great, Michael.
There you go.
Bing bang.
And then this is the one I saw, Marshall First with a Madonna 99. Stay strong, Burned Oils. What's the latest on Bischel's injury? Thanks, fellas. Non-starter. Bischel's fine. Wasn't even a topic of conversation today. He got through that. When we saw it happen in Game 6, it looked like he was done. So it's good, good that he was able to come back.
I was concerned it was above the shoulder.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it might have been, and I don't think it was.
So Bischel's okay. He is playing tonight. And then finally, Kat, if you would just pop up that graphic, the playoff bracket, because notice the only division of the 4 divisions. They have the Atlantic, the Metro, the Pacific, and the Central. And it's the only division that's still playing, Luds. And that was a big topic of conversation this morning, which is how difficult the Central Division is by the fact that both of the games within it are going to 7.
And that's why I say I think the team here, if you're one of these teams, I think you're going to think you can get to the finals. And I think when you're playing against this, whoever gets out of this thing down the road, they're going to say they went through a war. Get on them. They paid the price to get to this point. So we'll see how it all pans out.
And, of course, the second round starts on Monday, but Game 7 of Winnipeg and St. Louis is tomorrow night. Should be a lot of fun. We hope you enjoy Game 7 tonight. I'm going to head over there now. Luds is going to be here. We will do a full post-game recap of this one right after the game. It's on ABC or ESPN Plus, and it's a national exclusive tonight, no Victory Plus. But we'll be here no matter what. Post-game. Go Stars.
We all silly like the mayor.